Hi, I'm Edwin Samuelson. Welcome to a mini review on the CineFiles. Today we're going to be discussing the Avengers. All right, guys. You guys were hyped for this. Let's get into it. The Avengers.
The Avengers. I loved it.
Not disappointing in the least.
There is one disappointing thing. If you're going to see it, do not see it in 3D because it's post-converted. It looks like shit. See it in 2D. It's a very fun movie.
But see, I've had a lot of friends who saw it in 3D, and by a lot I mean two.
You and you.
They enjoyed it in 3D. They said it was a lot of fun in the 3D.
I don't think it looked that great in 3D. It's a post-conversion.
So you saw it in 3D?
I did see part of it in 3D.
Part of it? Mm-hmm. You walked out?
Well, I was
in a fury?
I was killing time, you know, with sticking my head in there, you know.
So wait a minute, I'm confused.
You can actually see 3D without the glasses?
Managed to sneak.
I was seeing something in 3D, and I just stuck my head.
And you snuck into another. Okay,
just a few
it.
minutes. Hey, I'm sorry. It's $14 a movie.
What surprised you about the Avengers that you didn't expect?
Well, the thing that that's usually very challenging about a film like this is that you have a lot of very big, larger-than-life characters. You have Iron Man, you have Thor, you have the Incredible Hulk, you have
Captain America,
you have Loki. And the problem is that when you do a film like this, is you have so many characters that it's very hard to give each one of these characters equal time. One time you usually focus on one character more than the other, and the other ones lose their backstory. Joss Whedon does a really good job of giving each one of these characters a backstory where they all feel they're like the star. You never feel like one is towering over the other.
Well, not so much a backstory, but gives them their moment.
Let's say the little arcs. They have little arcs. Like
what helped is that Marvel backed doing like their own movies essentially. So we've already had like the Captain America movie, we already had the Thor movie, we already had two Iron Man movies.
They did it the right way.
And they did it the right way, and so we already knew these characters going in. The exception might be
Black Widow.
Well, no. The exception might be Incredible Hulk because you had the Ang Lee version, and then you had the attempt with Edward Norton. And now we have the third actor to play the Hulk,
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, which is a slightly different take and approach to the character than the previous two.
The Hulk does feel like a completely different Hulk.
Well,
we never saw
why?
This Hulk before.
Because the three Hulks that we see in the three different films, we get Bruce Banner before the transformation and then after the transformation. Then in the second film, you have Hulk on the run, Bruce Banner on the run as fugitive. So he's like the fugitive. And then the third one, you have Banner in control of the Hulk, which you didn't have from the film 1 and film 2.
That's why I think the Hulk works much better in this film than in the other films, because the Hulk, it's a very hard character to bring onto a screen and give his own story.
We've already
but I'm
discussed
saying we talked
this a lot.
but it's important though, because the Hulk was he has to carry the whole movie, and he's not a very interesting character on his own. He's a very good supporting character.
I think the also thing to keep in mind too, what made this a little different than the other two, is that Ang Lee's version of Hulk was a different artistic take on that. From was it Lederer was the director of
Eric Lederer, yeah.
Okay,
who did
I'm sorry, Louis Lederer.
Louis Lederer. Okay, so that was a different take, and it was more of a comic booky take on it. And then
remember, the first one is like Indie Hulk. That's what it is. It's an
and I think it's
film
underrated. I think it's an underrated.
I do too. The problem with the first Hulk is you didn't have a real good villain. You had the absorbing man, but it was done in a half-assed way. Then in the second
it was really about his relationship with his father, Nick Nolte.
Exactly.
The real focus.
And then in the second film, you had Marvel Studios. This is one of the very first Marvel Studios projects. So they're like, look, this is going to be a product that the fans want. So let's shove in the Abomination. Let's shove in the leader.
Right.
And let's do it in kind of a. But I don't know if that's the script's fault or if that's the fact that it's Louis Lederer who is just not good for the role. Maybe it was a combination of both.
Well, whatever the case, and this particular incarnation, the Avengers, it's also the first time that the actor playing Bruce Banner is also doing a motion capture work as the Hulk. And the prior...
Yeah, because Ang Lee did the original. Ang Lee did the original Hulk. He did the motion capture. He was the Hulk in the movie.
Not Ang Lee, Eric Bana.
No, Ang Lee did the actual motion capture for the Hulk. He played the Hulk, the CGI Hulk that you see on the screen.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Really? Yes, he did. You can see the outtake footage. He's in the suit with
and
little
also
balls
the Hulk in this one actually kind of looks like Mark Ruffalo.
Well, they all do. If you look, Eric Bana...
the Edward Norton one doesn't look anything like him.
Eric Bana's Hulk looks like Eric Bana.
But Eric Bana already has those kind of features.
And he also
has Hulk features?
Yes, he does.
Hulk features.
Yo, shut up.
No.
Hey, well, he is the best actor to play the Hulk.
Eric Bana?
No, Mark Ruffalo.
I don't know about that. All three actors are
I
pretty good.
think he's the one who's the best, who captures the Hulk better than anybody else.
I think Mark Ruffalo did a good job playing this particular incarnation.
But you know why? I think you got to give credit to the Joss Whedon. He like fine-tuned and
yes, let's give credit to the Joss Whedon.
Let's give credit to the Josh. Yeah, the Josh.
And let's give credit to the Mark Ruffalo.
And to the Foltz.
He was my biggest surprise of the film, because I went in with this and I thought he's not going to be a very good Bruce Banner, and you know something? I was wrong. He was very good.
All the actors are much better. In fact, I think the Thor we see in this film is better than the Thor we saw in the other movie. I think it's a more interesting character.
He was more Thor in the Avengers than he was in Thor, and I think I already said that. But on
I know, I agree with you on that. It's completely
the Thor was great in this one.
And
I was going to say
I love the Iron Man
that what you were saying. It was a great ensemble picture. Everybody got to shine. Everyone got their 5 minutes. You know, even. Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson had some good moments in it as well.
What surprised you in the film that you didn't think going in?
Well, I wasn't so much surprised as much as I was impressed with how well it worked as an ensemble picture. I was like, I thought, okay, they're going to give more time to Tony Stark, you know, because Robert Downey Jr., because he owns that role. He's probably going to steal the film. But he really didn't. You know, like, everybody had their moment to shine. Everyone had a good time. And I loved the chemistry between Stark and Banner, between Ruffalo and Downey Jr.
I like that a lot.
That was really nicely done.
And also
you could have had them. You could have had Hulk Iron Man as a buddy pick.
Yeah. I would love to see a buddy
humor.
movie.
It's perfectly handled in this film, and it's very, very funny. And it's
but
not,
it's not slapstick.
It's not
right.
no. You know, it's not like that.
Right.
Like the scene that had me laugh. I mean, it's brilliant. Is the scene
but
with
I have
Hulk
to say,
pushing Loki.
and if you haven't seen the movie
pushing,
yeah,
using him as like a.
But let's talk about those comic book fans,
punking.
because I'm going to.
That was Thor.
We're going to sort of spoil something, although you've probably seen the film, right? But there's a little like thing like halfway through the credits, where a lot of people watching are like, who the fuck was that? Where they reveal who the villain may be for the next Avengers movie, and I emailed you. I'm like, you're going to know who this is, but a lot of people aren't. I'm pretty amazed they put this character in this film during the credit sequence.
Get to it.
And it was Thanos.
Well, this was my exact reaction, because I was waiting so much. And Tatiana, my girlfriend, she wanted to leave. And I said, no, we got to stay for the credits. She's like, oh, no, you always say that. I said, no, we got to stay. So the credits are getting to roll, and the lead of the Chitauri, the alien force that was going to invade Earth, the leader is sitting there talking to some character off screen. And they pan up on this character, and I look and I thought the first thing was a Skrull. Why is a Skrull? Wait, Skrulls aren't a big deal. And I thought, wait, that's not a green Skrull. That's Thanos, the Mad Titan.
You nerd.
Well, you see, you gotta understand. There's an Easter egg in Thor. Where it's the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
That's like, and the Infinity Gauntlet is
the most powerful weapon in the universe.
Right, and that's Thanos' weapon.
Quick question.
He forges the Infinity
Quick
Gauntlet.
question. If I'm not mistaken, isn't Spider-Man one of the original Avengers in the comic book?
No.
Well, what character, was there any character left out?
There was only 2 characters that were left out, and Captain America is not an original Avenger, believe it or not.
So who's the ones
The
that were left
original
out?
Avengers were Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, Wasp, and Ant-Man.
Oh, Ant-Man, who's getting his own movie.
Who later becomes...
They just announced at Comic-Con it's going to come out in August of 2014.
Directed by Edgar Wright.
Yep.
Are you excited?
Not for the particular character, because I'm not an Ant-Man, Hank Pym, Yellow Jacket fan, but I am an Edgar Wright fan, so I expect good things.
And he also announced Guardians of the Universe.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, sorry.
And the smart thing, too, is that they left out those characters, because if they would have been too crowded. You know what would have happened? It would have become X-Men, where you would have had to focus on certain characters and not everybody. And I give credit. He handles the characters brilliantly, the way that each one gets their time. I'm not going to repeat myself.
And he has the right tone.
The right tone.
You know.
And I will say, I was growing up, I still am a comic book fan. I still go and get my comic books and all that crap. And I was always an X-Men fan over the Avengers. Always. And I will say, this Avengers is better than any of the X-Men films.
How would you rate this? I mean, of all the films,
even X-Men First Class, which I loved.
Okay. That's the best X-Men movie. Let me ask you this. Of all the comic book films you've seen based on the Marvel characters, which one is your favorite
Oh, I
And
think the
which one-
Avengers is the best.
Okay, which one really captures the characters better than the other one? Would be the
Avengers, yeah.
Avengers?
Yeah,
Well, what would you-
but
Well, you gotta understand, the Avengers is
does it feel
a
like the comic
miracle
book?
that this film. You have to understand, it's a miracle this film got made.
I can't believe it got
ditto
made.
what he just said.
I can't
know?
believe it got made because each one of those characters is a franchise character.
And if you're a fan, especially if you're a Marvel fan, because you got DC fans, you got Marvel fans, everybody. No one ever thought they would see this in their lifetime. An Avengers.
Exactly, and another thing is, and I was talking to at a book signing. I was talking to the very famous comic book writer Grant Morrison, who's written untold number of comic books. He's written for both Marvel with X-Men. He wrote the Justice League and Doom Patrol and such with DC. And he said when he was talking to me, I was asking him what he thought of Green Lantern because he was writing for DC at the time. He's like, I haven't seen it. I was like, it's all right. He's like, well, and I said, well, DC or Warner Brothers' track record with films other than the Chris Nolan Batmans hasn't been done very well. And he said, yeah, well, he has a Scottish accent, but I'm not going to do that. He said, yeah, but Marvel Studios is doing right because they are essentially the modern-day Hammer horror films. He said everything is made to, the exact precision of in-house on how things are supposed to, and it leads up to this.
But
there's comic book people making those films. It's not a.
But this is. But there's also a difference, though. Marvel is producing. You gotta understand, it's also a studio thing because the Avengers, Thor, Hulk.
Second Hulk.
Right, Iron Man, they're all under one studio. Then you have the Marvel stuff that's being put out by Fox, which is not the same company. And they're kind of like, how are we going to reconcile that with this? And Marvel's like, there's this whole thing about Daredevil. They're trying to reboot the Daredevil, do a new Daredevil movie, but they have to do it before the rights disappear on this thing. And
well, that's the only reason.
Lose the rights, and it reverts back to Marvel.
Because the first,
no matter what they say in the press now, the only reason why they remade Spider-Man is so they could get control of the franchise away from Sony. Because Sony was the one that made all the money from Spider-Man.
Well, Sony made the new movies as well. It is Columbia Pictures.
Yeah, but Marvel has the money rights on it this time around. They didn't have it before.
The first film ever that Marvel produced on their own was Iron Man. They raised the money on the stock market.
But it's a case where you're not going to see Spider-Man appear in the Avengers. You're not going to see a crossover with, say, the X-Men.
They've already said that.
Jackman
they already
with,
said that. They said they may have made the rules.
Tony Stark, because it's two separate properties.
Yeah, what's amazing that this film even got made, like you said, because if I were a studio exec, I'd go, no way, let's make individual movies with these characters. Let's not
but
waste
they
them in one
also,
movie.
after Marvel was sold to Disney, they also got a tidal wave of cash. Yeah. And once they could prove that each one of the separate franchises, and putting Thor off to the side, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, once it was all proved that all three were money makers, which they were, then the natural progression is put all three of them in.
Did you say once Marvel sold Disney? Is that what you
Disney
said?
bought Marvel.
Once
Disney bought Marvel, yeah.
Disney, okay. Anyway, let's switch.
Disney?
Dark Bruce Banner, melted by gamma rays, turned into the Hulk.